Hey, big boxers. Welcome to On the Shelf, a program that is dedicated to helping you get your products into a major big box retailer. Tim here with you, as always. I hope you're doing well. Hope that your year is off to a fantastic start. So important to kick things off right, I think. So important to make sure that you're set up to hit the ground running in January. One of the key ways that you could do that is to spend some time in November and December of the previous year planning out how your year went. Did it go to plan? Did you exceed your goals? Did you meet your goals? Did you not meet your goals? And wherever you ended up, what were the key factors that brought you to that place? If you exceeded your goals, how did you do that? If you met your goals, how did you do that? If you didn't meet your goals, what went wrong? Because only in the figuring that out, only in the dissecting that, can you really understand how to plan for this upcoming year and how you're going to make things different this year than you did last year. If you exceeded your goals, how are you going to exceed your goals even more? How are you going to set your sights even higher so that your business continues to, go on that upward rocket trajectory? If you didn't exceed your goals, what held you back? How can you affect that this year? How can you stop that from happening this time? Did you kind of just aimlessly make it through the year, just tackling things that came up as they came up? Did you have really any purpose, any real strategy? And if not, how can you create a strategy this year that will keep you going? There's a difference between, and I find this in my own business, there's a difference between getting up in the morning, getting ready, going through your routine, and then getting to the office and having it all laid out for you because you kind of wrapped up your day before, you made some adjustments, and you gave yourself a clear set of things that you were going to accomplish today, some results that you really wanted to hit today. That helps you really come in and get right to work. But if you have to come in and create that for yourself, a couple of things are going to happen. One, you're going to be like, wonder what's going on with email. And then once you click into email, then it's kind of all over, right? Because email can just eat up your day like nobody's business. So if in your plan that you had created the night before, you had specific times of the day that you were going to do your email, well, then you can kind of follow that. But all too often, we come in and we just kind of let the day affect us instead of us affecting the day. And I find myself, when I have that plan, when I set it, first of all, I feel better at night. I feel like I can actually disengage from work, focus on my family, because I have a plan for the next day. It's not all up in the air. Secondly, when I come in, I feel like I'm ready. I can go right to work. I know what I'm going to do. I even have my tasks listed out with the results that I want to get started right then. And I don't let email kind of affect the outcome of my morning. So, and the reason I'm bringing that up, that day-to-day thing, is because your year is, in some ways, it's just like that. Because if you start your year in January without having any type of a plan, any type of a strategy, any type of, hey, what do I want to do the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter? How do I want to end up the year? Where am I going to be? What's it going to feel like in December of next year? What am I going to feel like? How's it going to feel? Will I have attained things? And if I did, how will I feel about that? If my goal was to make $500,000 this year and I made $500,000, what about my life's going to change? What will be different? And get that process, that thing going, those juices flowing, that understanding that if you put that feeling in your head, then that's the feeling that drives you every day. I want to have that feeling. If the feeling is all about $500,000, then these are the things I have to do. And when things get hard, you remember, I want to have that feeling of having made $500,000. And speaking of hard, I have something that I call daily grit. And I think that even though entrepreneurs might not use that same term, most entrepreneurs have daily grit. And what daily grit is for me, why I say it that way, is it's the grit that you need to get through the day, because entrepreneurship is hard. And it's not always what you see on Facebook. It's not always standing in front of nice cars or got your legs kicked up on a boat. Those are just advertisements. Real entrepreneurship is up early to bed late, grinding it out, making it happen. And in order to do that, you got to have daily grit. And it's grit that you have to be able to access every day of the year. So, do you have the daily grit? Do you have the plan? Do you break it down? Do you go to bed at night with a plan for the next day? All things for you guys to consider. Before we get into the topic, one more thing. Costco, and I've always been, I do a lot of business with Costco. They're a favorite retailer of mine. They have been since the starting of TLB Consulting, but Costco has really shown themselves to be, I don't want to say bulletproof, I don't want to jinx it or anything, but certainly pandemic proof. They've done a great job in making sure that they're on the edge of what people need, being able to provide it to them at a cost that they can buy it. And I really think that if your goals are set on retail, Costco has to fit into that strategy. Now, is it easy to get into Costco? No. And why is that? Because they only have a certain amount of products. Costco doesn't sell 10 different types of olive oil. They sell one type. They don't sell 10 different types of fish oil pills. They sell one type. Whereas a Target has 50,000 SKUs, Costco has 5,000 SKUs. And so to be one of those 5,000, yeah, it's difficult. It can be. But the big question is your product even right to go to Costco? Does it make sense for their business model? So before you even attempt it, before you even think about it, you should find out, hey, is my product even right for Costco? So what I did is on the front page of my website, which is tlbconsulting.com, I put a questionnaire. It's an embedded questionnaire in the homepage that it's just 5 questions. 5 questions that you can fill out that will give you a yes, your product is a possible fit. Maybe it might possibly be a fit, or no, it's probably not a fit. You're going to get an answer right now. And then it gives you a chance to book a call with me to find out more about your results. If it's not a fit, why? Why is it not a fit? And if it might be a fit, what does it look like? And if it is, what do I do next? So you can book a 30-minute free consultation with me, and we can talk through those. I'm going to try. I don't know if you guys hear that dinging, but got a lot of messages coming in on Facebook Messenger, and so I just turned that off. So hopefully you guys won't hear that anymore. So that's on the front page of the website. You can go to the website, tlbconsulting.com. Take that quiz super fast to take it and get your result, and then book a call with me and let's talk through it. If it's not a fit, why is it not? And is there anything we can do about that? All right. So I'm super happy to have that up on the site for you guys to be able to utilize. All right, on to the topic, which is onboarding. And I'm sure that I've talked, this is like what, 178 episodes, somewhere in the 177 other episodes, we've talked about onboarding, I'm sure, several times. I'm bringing it up again because more and more my clients really think that they feel like this, once a retailer decides to buy your product, then that process is fairly quick, and I'm going to have a PO in hand, and I'm going to send them a product, and then I'm going to get paid, and life is going to be grand. All of that is going to happen, people. All of that is going to happen, but not necessarily in the order that you think it's going to have, in the time frame that you think it's going to take. And there's some key things that you're going to have to do first in order to facilitate that process. Okay, so I've written down some key steps, key things that I want you to be aware of, things that I want you to keep in the back of your mind, so that when it does happen, you're ready. You're ready, and you don't have a misconception on the process. So onboarding with a major retailer, and we're just going to use Walmart as our example today. Onboarding to Walmart, for instance, it requires several different steps: paperwork, online, EDI, factories, warehouses, how your product is case packed, interpacked, barcodes, GS1, GTINs, images. There's all these things that go into it. And then there's how are you actually going to sell it? How's it going to go on the shelf? How's it going to actually be presented to the Walmart customer? So let's go through these real quickly. This is not going to be a training, guys. So we're kind of just, as Jocko would say, we're skipping the top of the waves of this. And of course, you can always get in touch with us for more detail if you like. Starting with the paperwork. Once you receive your vendor paperwork, your goal should always be to get this stuff filled out in its entirety and sent back to the retailer in 72 hours. The reason we want you to get it back in 72 hours, if possible, is the more it's still top of mind with the buyer, the faster they're going to submit it and try to get that turned around. If it takes you a month to get it filled out, then they were going to forget that they even wanted to buy your product. And then you got to not only remind them who you are, but they have so many other things now in front of you that they kind of have to backtrack. So we want you to get it back to them pretty quickly so that you're still top of mind. All right, so a couple of things you're going to receive inside your paperwork. One is going to be, well, first of all, before we get to the different things, I want to say, review all the paperwork in its entirety before you start filling anything out. Okay, don't just grab the first attachment, print it out, and start filling it out. Okay, because it's going to take you forever if you do it that way. Print everything out, dedicate some time, start going through it. Read everything over at least once to figure out all the different things that you're going to need to fill this out. Now, if you've already downloaded my vendor prep worksheet and you've done that, then most of what you're going to need is going to be right there. If you haven't done that, go to the website, fill out, download the vendor prep worksheet and get that filled out. That way you'll be that much further ahead when you start filling out vendor paperwork. So once you've read through everything, the first thing that you have to go back through and read in very fine detail is called the vendor agreement. Okay, that is the agreement between you and the retailer, and everything that you need to know about that retailer is going to be in there. Everything that they're going to require of you, everything that they're going to do to you or want from you is going to be in there. You hear often people say, oh, this happened to me, I got screwed, this happened. Yeah, all that was in there. All the things that the retailer did to you were in this document. You dismissed it, you didn't understand it, you didn't see it, you didn't read it, you skimmed through it. Guys, you can't skim through it. You got to read it and you got to understand it. Not that you can change it. You can't change anything in there. Can't redline anything in there. But you do need to know so that you can make an informed decision. Do I want to move forward or not? If you don't understand it, find somebody who does. Get a hold of us. We can help you go through this and explain some of the things, why they're like they are, so that you can make an informed decision. Do not sign this document until you understand it. I'm going to say it again. Do not sign the document until you understand it. So once you've done the agreement, you fill out all the rest of the paperwork. There's going to be, there's going to be ACH paperwork. How are they going to pay you? There's going to be privacy paperwork. There's going to be things to sign, addendums. There's going to be quotes, and then there's going to be item setup paperwork where you're going to be filling out all the information about your items. And that's where that vendor prep worksheet really comes in handy. So you get all that done. And don't scan it all together, okay? Don't put it all in one document. You scan each document separately and then save them so that they don't pile up to 900 megabytes. And then you put them all in one email and send them in one email. Don't send them in multiple emails. If they're too big, you reduce them down so that they can be emailable. Put them all in one email, and mark the subject, basically your brand name, then new vendor paperwork, then completed and signed documents, so that they can easily find it when they're searching for it, and that they're all in there. Okay. So once you've done that, it's going to take them some time, probably 30 days, to get that stuff looked at, reviewed, get back to you if there's anything else that you needed to do. In the meantime, they may have you get started on setting up EDI, electronic data interchange. That's how your POs and invoices are going to be transmitted back and forth, is through EDI. And so I generally use SPS Commerce as my EDI provider. So you're going to want to get a hold of your EDI provider and start working on getting that connection set up. While you're doing that, they may have an online portal, like Walmart Retail Link, that they're going to they're going to give you access to, and then inside there is a lot of videos and stuff to help you understand and get ready to do business with that retailer. You have to go through all of that. It's going to take you some time, and then they're going to want you to upload information, item setup sheets into there. It's very rare that when you upload them, they work the first time. There's a lot of back and forth with that retailer, making sure you have everything filled out correctly, and so it uploads correctly. Once you get that uploaded and they have all the things that they need, that's when they'll start to move forward. Now, it's important to remember too that the buyer is not your main contact during all this time. There's all kinds of different people that get involved, and that's why retailers take time to decide if they're going to carry your product, because they invest a lot of time in getting you set up. It's a lot of man hours to get this all done. But if the buyer sends you to somebody and says, "Oh, your main contact for the online retail setup is this person," if you have trouble, that's who you contact. You don't go back to the buyer. Okay. You may copy them on it if you're having trouble, but you don't bother them with that. You are going to have to tell them and give them the address to your warehouse. You're going to have to tell them who your factory is, and all that information has to go into the system. There's no way to do business with big retailers without telling them who makes your product. I know you guys kind of want to hide that, but yeah, you don't get to. A couple things to consider if you don't already have them. A lot of, if you've done mostly e-commerce, a lot of times you're going to have your product brought over in big cases, and it's just a lot of product in one case. Oh, it's 100 units per case. Retailers are not going to buy it from you that way. They're going to want it in master cases with inner packs. And so, and the smaller the inner packs, the better for the retailer. Not smaller than 6 units, but 6 units is a good amount. So generally, depending on how big your product is, let's say it's the size of a cell, what's a good measurement? Let's say it's the size of of a big cell phone. Probably a master case of 24 that has 6 inner packs or 4 inner packs of 6. Because what happens is that master case gets to the retail DC, and then they send an inner case to this store and an inner case to this store. They're not going to send 20 units, 30 units, 50 units to a store. They're going to send 6 units or 12 units. Now, if the product is, like this, it's small, like a cell phone, you might be able to get away with putting 48 in a master case, which is, 4 cases, inner packs of 12, if it's fairly small. But but you want to repackage that way. Yep, it's going to add some cost. Yep, it's going to, you're going to have to understand that you got to deal with that. But you're not going to be sending, a case of 100 units to their DC for them to break up and send out to their stores. That's not the way it's going to work. Okay. So when you're doing your pricing too, make sure that you take into account, work with your factory on, hey, if we have to put these in master cases and interpacks, what's that going to add to my cost? So you take that into account when you're actually doing your pricing and you're making sure that you price them correctly. If you need help with pricing, we have pricing worksheets on the website that you can get. If you need help with the pricing strategy, you can reach out to us and we can help you with that. But don't not do it. Okay. You're also going to have to know how many units are on a pallet, how many units fit in and how many pallets fit in a container, how many total units come in a container. What is the dimensions of the pallet? Like how many fit on a row and how many rows high on a pallet? You're going to have to know all of that. Your barcodes. Do you have UPC codes? Are they GS1? So are they certified your barcodes that you own? Do you have high-res images? If you're an Amazon seller, most likely you do have high-res images, but are they actual images of your product or are they renderings? You're going to need some really decent high-res images of your product. If you don't have those, you're going to want to get those done. So how long does this all take? Well, I'll tell you, when we onboarded in 2021 to Walmart, it took 6 months to fully onboard before we got our first PO. Okay, 6 months. When we onboarded to QVC, 5.5 months before we got our first PO. One of the things that you should also consider is QA. Okay, if your factory already has independent third-party QA evaluations, certifications, it's better that they have that, because if they don't, the retailer is going to recommend that you use their company. And then you don't have much control over what they're doing, how they're looking at it. So if your factory has their own QA audit certifications, you can submit those to the retailer and hopefully they'll accept those. So I would check with your factory, say, hey, what kind of QA audits have you done? When was the last time you did one? Who was the company that you did it through? And can I have a copy of your certification? That should be no big deal. If they're a legitimate factory, they should be concerned with that as well. One other thing that could hold you up is claims. What are you claiming that your product does? And can those claims be backed up through third-party independent testing? If I claim my product's non-slip, do I have any third-party testing that verifies that it really is non-slip? If I claim that my product's antimicrobial, do I have any independent third-party lab testing that shows that it actually is antimicrobial? Now, the cool thing about that is and by the way, the reason I mention this is more and more retailers are trying to set themselves apart from online by requiring these, because online on Amazon, it's just like a free for all. They can claim pretty much anything they want, as long as they're not, Amazon doesn't. They'll ratchet down on you if you're claiming that your product cures a disease or if it is a pesticide. But other than that, you can claim a lot of different things and they don't ask you for any third-party testing. So one of the ways the retailers can set themselves apart is to say, hey, all of our products that we carry in the store, the claims have already been third-party verified. And the cool thing about it is once you do it with like a company like SGS Independent Labs, those are good. You do it one time and they're good. You can have them unless something in your product changes, you can have those going forward. And in some cases, even if the retailer doesn't require it, in your pitching process, you can use those and say, hey, by the way, these claims that we're saying, one of the things that set us apart from other products, ours are all third-party independently verified and tested and certified. I can send you those reports if you like. That lets the retailer know you're serious. That lets the retailer know, hey, we're saying our product does this, and we backed it up with the fact that we paid to have it tested, and verified. So don't be surprised if, and a lot of times this QA testing on your product comes at the very end, and they'll be like, oh, and by the way, you need to pass QA. Well, when we onboarded to QVC, that came, it was supposed to start in the middle, but they were backed up and it came at the end. We had to push our air date on QVC 2 different times to get through all the independent lab QA testing. So just know that may be coming. Keep an eye out for it. If you have a lot of claims, anti-slip, antifungal, anti-this, anti-that, you might consider getting those independently tested. If you claim that your product lasts a certain amount of time, doesn't wear out, doesn't stick to the surface, we even had to have the claim that you could customize it with scissors. We had to have that claim tested. Otherwise, we just couldn't include it as a claim. So, all right, guys. So listen, understand that onboarding to a retailer is not this quick, easy, fast thing. It's not hard, but it's not something that just happens in a day. And you have to be dedicated to it. You have to be on top of it. If you want to get in that retail, once you've done all the heavy lifting of getting the product in front of the retailer and then actually getting them to say yes, you don't want to fall down on this part. You don't want to be lax on this part. You want to keep pushing this forward. That's how you finally get in. Guys, if it was easy, anybody could do it. And like I said, it's not hard. It's just, you got to be diligent. And if you don't know what you're doing, again, always find somebody who does, because you don't want to mess this part up. All right. So a couple of things. So paperwork, you receive it, you review it all. Okay. Before you start filling things out, gather all the information that you need ahead of time. Fully review the vendor agreement before you sign it. Make sure you understand what you're signing. Fill out all the other paperwork, scan each document separately, put it all together in an email, try to get back to them in 72 hours. You're going to have online, you're going to have EDI, you're going to have to talk through your warehousing, your logistics, your factories. You're going to have to work out your case packs, your inner packs, how many fit on a pallet, how many fit in a container. You're going to have GS1 certified barcodes and some high-res images. Again, top of the waves here. All right, top of the waves. But that should give you an idea of onboarding, not to scare you away, just to, everything that we do here is we do this all day long. People do it every day to get into retail. Not to scare you away, is to open your eyes, open your mind to what's going to happen. Only in understanding, having the knowledge, can you be ready to do it. So as always, guys, if you have questions, you have comments, you have issues, reach out to us, comment on the podcast. As I was saying, all of our podcasts on theshelfnow.com are all transcribed. So, if you want to read through the actual podcast, some people actually go onto the website and listen to it and read at the same time. Now, I'm going to tell you ahead of time, I don't read through all the transcripts, so they may not be accurate. I talk really fast, and I don't always talk the way it makes it easy to write, but you can follow through. You can follow it along. I know a lot of you guys are listening in the car, doing your own thing. So if you ever want to go back and see the things that were said, websites that were mentioned, that's all in the transcripts on the website on theshelfnow.com. So don't worry there. Don't forget about Costco. Don't forget about the Costco questionnaire. Definitely take advantage of that. Don't forget about the vendor prep worksheet. You're going to want to have that and tuck that away for when you need it. And as always, guys, we are here for all your needs, all your getting on the shelf needs. If you need anything, please reach out and connect with us. Anything you would ever need is on the website, tlbconsulting.com. You can even get to the podcast from that website. So everything Get on the Shelf related is on there. The VIP group, such a great resource, great people in that group. All we talk about all day long, all week long anyway, every week is buyers, talking to buyers, emailing buyers. What does it take to get your product in front of buyers? And how, once you do that, how do you actually get them to say yes? It's talking through real life scenarios, real things that are happening, real emails that are getting sent. It's just such a fun group. So hopefully you guys will get connected there as well. All right, guys, that's it. That's all I got. I hope you guys have a great week whenever you're listening to this. And Until next time, I hope to see your products on the shelf.